One of the biggest lessons that I've learned in the past few years is that borrowed anchors don't hold. And what this means is that the weight you put into external answers and validation will never, ever keep you as grounded as what you have inside. So when I was growing up, I was taught that my thoughts and feelings and emotions and perception and intuition were just fundamentally flawed and outright wrong. I thought that there was something wrong with me if everything I felt and thought could be that wrong from the jump. And so this created a situation where I was constantly looking outside for answers, looking outside for validation of what is good and bad and what I like and don't like and what is worth pursuing and not pursuing. And it just created so much turmoil in relationships with my family, in relationships with friends, in relationships with significant others. I was always putting their needs ahead of mine because I assumed that my needs were incorrect. And so I was always, going outside to take care of other people, hoping that if that would be helpful for them, then they could validate me that I was, correct in being helpful. And I think this really created just a lot of conflict internally for me and resentment. And that only got worse the older I got, and it also followed me into business. I am a perfectionist, and I talk about this in a different video, but when I started getting into business, I started learning about all the right ways and the wrong ways to do business. And I got lost in years of learning about stuff, but never trusting my own instincts. And even when I found success in my most recent business and I had been doing well for myself, I again put my focus on external validation for what I should do next. And I'm talking, I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses and coaching and trying to find answers to things that I knew intuitively but refused to listen to because I thought that someone else would know something that I didn't know or have some secret that I didn't have access to or something. But this just created a situation where I took my freelance business, creating websites for people, built it into an agency because that's what I was told would be the best solution for me, hiring because I was told it was going to be the best solution, and all these things that I never had an interest in doing, all to realize that I hated it. I hated having to hire people. I hated having the responsibility of these crazy projects I was saddled with, and I did not like running the agency or freelance business to begin with. I wanted to make content like this and create in the world, but I never did this because I was told, a decade ago or more that this was not the best way to make money. In fact, the service business was the best way to make money. So in this roundabout way, I just kept putting my trust in what other people said was the best thing, but because everyone says something different is the best thing to do, I just got increasingly confused. And after a long time of doing this, I'm finally finding some sort of grounding and confidence in what I want, because I've seen so many examples of you can succeed in so many ways. There's an infinite amount of ways to be in a relationship, to have a business. And yes, there are principles that are helpful in those situations, but the minutia of the day-to-day, or what you want to sell, or how you want to show up, or how you want to run things, that's all up to you. And no one can tell you what the best answer is for that. It's just, you have to figure it out through experimentation and trial and error to know what you even like. Your preferences. How do you like working? Do you like working with clients? Do you not like working with clients? No one can tell you any of these things. And that's why I go back to, one of these biggest lessons I've learned in a very real experiential way is that borrowed anchors don't hold. If you are a ship out at sea, especially if you have grown up in a chaotic fucking sea like I did, where there's like waves crashing into you and you're just desperate to find something to anchor to, the first reaction is to anchor to someone else and what they think is correct. But that is not the way to stabilize yourself long term. What really needs to be done is to figure out how to anchor yourself to you. What do you believe in? What do you think is right? What do you feel is correct? And I'm finding the more and more I do that, the more confident I feel, even when I don't know what's going on, even when I have a lot of questions that are not answered yet. And it's a totally different feeling to start building up this folder of evidence that you can, number one, sail the waters by yourself at all, but number two, that you can drop your anchor into what is meaningful and intuitive and worth fighting for you. And I think that's what the whole point of this, at least for me, has been, was to go from knowing intuitively, as that kid, what was good for me, being taught that was all wrong, going so far in the direction of looking to other people for answers, only to come all the way back to realize that I was the only one who had them the whole time. And if you're on a similar journey, it's fucking weird and it is difficult at times, but I promise you that it is worth getting back in touch with that part of you who knows what is right for you. And it can start in small things, like literally the smallest of things, like what color socks do you want to wear today? Like, have confidence in that decision. What do you want to eat for lunch? Have confidence in that decision. Don't look to your left and to your right at what your coworkers are eating. That was probably a silly example, but you have to start small if you're coming from a situation where you've outsourced all of your decisions to everyone for every single thing that you do for so long. Like, start with the small things and work your way up to the big things. And eventually you will find yourself in a situation where you don't need to rely on other people for what you already know to be true. I will leave you with that, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.